get a lot of calls from people who'd like to talk to me. It's great because it allows me to see many businesses and how they work and how they operate. I've had the real honor of being in the back end of many businesses, small, medium, and large, and seeing how they work and operate. And I've had the honor of moving a couple of them from small businesses to powerhouses in the industry. But most of the time when people want to talk to me, it's not going well. It's not when they're making the millions of dollars, and it's not when everything is chugging along. It's when they've hit a speed bump. And that speed bump can be a multiple of things. There is no silver bullet. In fact, it can be the market's changed. And in fact, what we're seeing is the market has changed drastically over the last couple of years because of how the social media environment took over and then is not as effective anymore, and the expense thereof. As well as it could be that what they're doing isn't working like it used to. And that could be because of market forces. It could be because of the saturation of the market. And it could also be the size of the company. In other words, what took them to that point isn't making them go any farther. And usually that's when I get the conversation. And those are great conversations to have. Sometimes I'm able to identify it. Sometimes it's just a question of experimentation. The question of sitting down and trying to figure out what it is. And you may have to experiment to find that out. But in many ways, also, it is getting a different view on the same idea. You can get locked into something because this is how you've been doing it for a long while and trying to figure out how to make it better. A classic example of this is a company that wants to grow, continues to grow by doing more things, having more people, spending more money on advertising. That works really well up until a certain point. And the first point of that's about $1 million. At the $1 million mark, all of that is the learning curve to get you to that $1 million mark. To get you to the $2 million mark, you have to do something completely different. And I'll do a podcast on exactly my ideas of the model if that happens. But in all reality, that $1 million mark, once you've hit that, just doing the same thing over and over again is not going to get you to $2 million. In fact, it's a completely opposite way of doing it. What happens, and what I've noticed the most, is not that people have a need to do things differently. It's maybe that they don't see it. They can't see what they're doing because A, they've always done it one way, or B, that they just don't have the experience in the area. And one of the people I was talking to lately had this exact experience. They're doing well. They're a company that sells a number of training courses, and these training courses have always filled up, but it started to slow down. I don't believe it's the size of the company. I believe that the market has really changed for them, and they're having trouble identifying their market. So what they decided to do was go all in on Facebook ads. So instead of hiring a professional group to do Facebook ads, they decided to take a course and do it themselves. And they went out and they bought lots of Facebook ads, and they got people coming to their website, and 3 people booked. But they spent more money than the 3 people actually invested. So they actually lost money in that. And they couldn't figure out why, and they figured, oh, this just doesn't work. And they're contemplating closing the company. There's lots of things that we can unpack here. And the first is, when you were targeting that Facebook ad, they were actually sending it to a website. That website had no call to action. They just sent it to the general website, expecting people to hunt around and find what they like and do their own adventure. That never really works well. You really want to direct them directly to where you want to be. You want to give them something to opt in, and you want to start that conversation. They put all of their money towards a Facebook ad, so they had no money to do anything else. So one of the things we have to be very careful of is when things start going wrong, putting ourselves onto an explanation that one thing is going to fix it. Facebook ads is going to fix it. Google ads is going to fix it. This new person is going to fix it. And if we do that, we really run into a problem. The fastest way to kill a business isn't strategy. It's believing that one strategy is going to make everything different. While your competitors are building resilient systems with multiple backup plans, are you still putting all your eggs in one basket? Study shows 67% of all businesses are overly dependent on a single solution. Every year, businesses invest billions of dollars in standalone solutions that promise to revolutionize their operations. Yet 82 of the transformation initiatives still fail. What's your current silver bullet costing you? Is it costing you the myopic view that this is the only way that's going to work? Are you putting all your eggs in one basket? Are you pushing for something that if it doesn't work, you're going to have bigger challenge? Instead of allowing yourself to do a couple of small tests instead of one big one, and bringing on someone who can really have a conversation with you about the best way to do that. If this company had actually taken the Facebook ads and driven it to a specific page that talked exactly about what was going on, their conversion rate would have been better. Their access would have been better if they'd actually talked to someone. And now they're in a position where they were expecting this to work and it didn't. They went all in on one situation, opposed to testing a couple of them. Testing Facebook ads, testing ads to YouTube possibly, testing social media outreach, testing the ability to get on a podcast and talk to people. All of these could have been possibilities, but now they're stuck down the funnel that they don't know what to do. Maybe more expenses because, yes, they have more emails, but they don't actually have more investment. They don't have people buying. Having a conversation is important in the early stages. It's even better when you're doing well and you can take some time to look off in different directions and see what's going on. One of the best things I can do is suggest that you do quarterly breakout where you sit down and you look at what's going on and what you can do differently. If you'd like, I've got a whole podcast on that, and that's right up here. And one of the powerful things that you can do is start looking at alternates before you need to have them. When things are going well, set aside some time, some effort, and some people to try out different things, to go on different routes, to see if it works, to test it out, to learn the process before it becomes absolutely necessary. Power becomes the individual who feels like they can be creative. Much more difficult to be creative when you've got time pressure and financial pressure there. So go ahead and take the time now, as your business is growing, to look at alternate ideas and alternate plans. Bring someone in to have a conversation about what else you could do. Integrate the creative ideas when there's not as much pressure, so that when things change, when you look at how the company's growing or as the market changes, you can sit down and say, this is something we tried before, or you can have this in the background that you can just turn up the heat a little bit, opposed to trying to recreate the wheel. Because under pressure, people feel like they are forced to get something done. Under something when it's going well, you can be more creative, you can allow more mistakes, and you can invest in the time and the effort to make it right. And there's no requirement that you have to get it all. No one solution, should you be defining, should fix it all. What I'd like you to do is three things. First of all, take a look at what you're doing now and see if you can get another perspective. Get another perspective from another individual, a company, sit down and buy a person a cup of coffee, talk to them, but they really shouldn't be in the same area that you're in. The external view is absolutely important. In fact, we find that a lot of creativity, that an external view is so much more important than almost anything else you do. Get an external view. Second of all, what I want you to do is come up with one or two plans of something you can try small. Can you make it? In other words, what is the minimum viable product that you need to create to try this out? How quickly and fast can you do that? So you could see if it works and do some learning. Make it a minimum viable product so if it falls over, you haven't spent hours, days, months, years getting it up. Fail forward fast. And finally, go ahead and try that. Set the expectation this may or may not work. We're going to build something and learn from it. Whatever you do will bring your business forward. I experimented with an entire different section, created an entirely new business out of an idea I had. But the stuff I built out of that new business taught me so much that I was able to improve every line of my business and actually allow the business to grow. So if you do those 3 points, have a conversation outside of your area, identify a minimum viable product, and then do it to learn how it is with the expectation it may fail, you're going to not only future-proof yourself, but not get in the situation where when everything's starting to go a little, as the British say, pear-shaped, you're going to be able to step up and take care of that. You're going to be able to say, oh, we can turn the volume up here. So what I'd like you to do is I'd love for you to think about the most sideways place that you could talk to. In other words, if your business is selling books, what are the tangential groups that you could talk to? Do you want to talk to booksellers? You don't want to talk to book buyers, but is there another group in your industry that you could talk to? Put that information below. I'd love to hear about how you think about tangential groups and who you can get your mind started. And let's continue the conversation. I look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode on the Strategy Session, where we take your business from stuck to unstoppable. Here's another video I think you'd enjoy. If you found these insights valuable, remember to hit the like button subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications on our latest videos. Want to transform your business with expert strategies? Schedule your strategy session today by clicking the link in the description below. Remember, you're not just marketing, you're making history with Venture Gained. See you in the next video.